Augmented reality, or shortened to AR. What is that and why is it interesting? Well, it's not interesting for everyone, but you clicked on this video so perhaps it might interest you just a little bit. Alright then, so let's just get into it. So, augmented reality basically combines the real world with virtual stuff. Now, there's already a lot of examples for this in social media, like Snapchat and TikTok filters, and other examples in games, like FNAF Special Delivery, Pokemon Go. So, I decided to make something in AR. And on an unrelated note, I kinda need to do this for my uni assignment, but yeah, that's just definitely a coincidence. Yeah. So first, I need ideas. So I have to make two separate AR objects that should unlock each other. So for example, there's one key and one door, and that key can unlock that door, and that door can reveal like a world behind it. But as long as it is hidden, it doesn't have to be a door. It could be a mouth. It could be, I don't know, let's say a cupboard or something. Up to me. So I began brainstorming, and I came up with something interesting. So, you guys are probably familiar with the backrooms. It's pretty popular these days. It's kind of a creepy pasta that revolves around liminal space, around, you know, like just a couple of walls and stuff. So I decided to make something that resembles like a liminal space, you know, something that gives you the creeps, you know, something that's a little bit creepy. So I began digging and doing my research, and I stumbled upon this specific image, this right here, if you guys can see it, right here. So, as you can see, this image is basically, it's a liminal space. There's a bit of unnerving feeling when you see it. And it's pretty simple to do as well, pretty simple to model, a pretty simple room. So I decided to go with that, Then, I also wanted the room to be part of some parts of the human's body. So if you guys have watched this anime called Parasite the Maxim, this anime basically describes what my idea is. So basically you have this hand right here, and you want to make like a room inside of this hand, you know, and I want to make like the liminal space inside of this hand. So yeah, that's what I did. I also wanted to add something to the room because I don't want the room to be just an empty room with a fan spinning on top. I wanted to add something unnerving, something a bit, oof, you give me the chills, you know. So I decided to add like some sort of mannequin because, you know, people hate mannequin. I hate mannequins if it's like in a dark creepy alley, but if it's like in a mall, then that's fine. Originally, I also wanted to add a nose so that the player can just put something in the nose to unlock the door, but it doesn't work really well in the image target thing in the AR, so I thought I'm just gonna have to scrap that idea. So after that, I made small sketches, you know, just to give me a general idea. I know my sketches are a bit bad, you know, but it's there to just give me a general idea, you know, for what to model in my 3D modeling app. And then, yeah, I also changed the key to a knife, since, you know, mouths will probably react when I stab them, right? I think. After I made the sketches, I talked to my professor for a bit and asked him for a bit of advice, and he told me that it would be cool if the walls were made out of flesh, since, you know, it's part of the human body anyways. It was not in my original concept, but I kept that in mind, you know, because I thought it was actually a good idea. Then I started modeling with Maya, and the modeling was pretty simple and pretty straightforward because most of the shapes are basic shapes, you know, and I also separated the teeth and the mouth so I can easily animate it later on. And also, the only hard part of this modeling sequence is the mannequin. I kinda gave up on the mannequin, so I just made it a low poly mannequin, and I thought, I mean, that's good enough, I guess. Kinda looks like a mannequin. Then I did some UV mapping, which is basically just making things easier to texture on. If you guys are not familiar with 3D modeling, this is basically like, you know how when you fold things to make like a cube, you have to unfold it later on, or maybe it starts unfolded? That's basically what UV mapping is. You just unfold stuff. Then I moved on to Substance Painter, where I painted all of my textures for my models. I basically use smart materials for most of the objects, which is basically like the already prepared materials in the app. And I also baked the textures, so it looked good. And I gotta say, it looks pretty cool and gnarly. And the flesh wall actually fits the scene really well. I gotta thank my professor for that, you know. I also added a smart mask to make it look like the mannequin is a bit bloody, you know, it's a bit gory and stuff, you know. After exporting the models and the textures to Unity, I set up this augmented reality thing called Vuforia. Since I used my Uni account for Vuforia, I was able to remove the watermark and made everything looks pretty cool and make it connected to my camera as well. I also added ambient occlusions to hide the back part of the room from the user before it is revealed with the key that I just mentioned before, which is the knife, you know. Then I also added some lightings in the inside to make it look like it came from the fan, and I also added some animations to the fan, and that's most of the things pretty much done. I also added an activation track to make the mannequin disappear and appear, and also add flickering lights to the animation. So when you press the scene, it looks a bit, you know, a bit spoopy, a bit more spooky, you know. I almost forgot to mention, I also added some animations to the mouth, so when the knife is close to the mouth, it triggers the mouth into crunching, like like that, you know. And now most of the functions are done. I also use some scripts to trigger the events of when you press the screen, an event triggers, and also when you interact the key to the door, bam, and then something triggers. I use a script for that as well. So yeah, easy. Those are like simple scripts that I didn't write, that I definitely didn't get from uni. Then I added some things to the scene to polish up the scene a little bit. I added a simple particle effects, which simulates dust, and since everything is made out of flesh, I made the dust red. And I also added sound effects, and I got these sounds from a website called freesound.org, since I am only allowed to use that. And this is the final result. Overall, it's a really cool project, and I got an A for this assignment, which is pretty nice if you ask me. And if you're interested, I'm actually interested in making more of this as well, if I have the time, of course. And if you like the video, please consider subscribing or leave a like if you want to, of course. If you don't want to, that's perfectly fine. And yeah, that's all for me today, and see you next time. Bye.
God.